r/AskReddit, what is a food that makes you think, how did humans discover this was edible? What the fuck was bread guy doing? What compelled him to collect tiny pieces of grain, dry them out, smash them into a powder, get them wet again, but not too wet, and then put the whole thing over fire? I think the best guess with bread is that someone stored porridge somewhere that got really hot and baked it. Or they heated up porridge over a fire too long. Cheese is weird. Hey Og, that milk you were storing has gone weird and lumpy, should I throw it out? Nah, it's still good, pass it here. Rennet, which causes milk to curdle, is naturally present in the stomachs of calves. Some speculate that people may have used stomachs as storage vessels. You put some milk in there, and it curdles. Food is scarce, so you're not about to let it go to waste. Thankfully the chunky milk actually tastes pretty damn good. The amount of effort you have to go through to make cashews edible. The fuck did someone figure that out? Fun fact, unlike most other seeds, the cashew grows outside of the fruit. The fruit that it grows under is pretty tasty, so I suppose they thought it would be worth the effort. Cashews and chocolate are my big two. How did you all figure it out and why? So many steps. Why cashews? Yes. Cashews for sure. Almost every edible mushroom. Lots of trial and error there, I bet. Maybe not quite food, but like tobacco and marijuana. The amount of trial and error of just smoking random things to see what happens must have been an interesting time. May I point you at the Native American shamans? They smoked pretty much everything to find stuff that lets you get high and have visions. I mean, I think it's pretty reasonable for people to throw some dry leaves onto a fire and realize, hey, this is pretty nice. The first person to eat an oyster, how hungry was that motherfucker? Hey guys, I found a loogie in this slimy rock. Want some? I imagine a lot of food discoveries came down to, do I eat this weird looking thing or starve to death? Then they enjoyed it and told their friends. Ever think about coffee beans? Hey, I'm gonna roast the seed, smash it up and drown it in hot water. Bet it tastes great. The legend is that a goat herder saw his goats eat the coffee berries and then get all hyper. Fugu. / let's eat this fish, dies. / okay he died, let me try eating this other part of the fish, dies. / okay. How about I eat only this part of the fish? Not too bad. I came here to say this. Like, just how? Did someone get lucky the first time eating one? Humans are curious creatures. Food is no exception. Yeah, and there is another layer of mushroom delicious when cooked but poisonous when raw. Seriously, look at babies, the first thing they do when they get their hands on something is try to shove it in their mouth. Keisumartsu. Desperation, my man. Eat maggots or die sounds like a difficult choice until you're actively dying of starvation. Hackerl. I think it was probably starvation that led someone long ago to eat that rotten dead shark that had been fermenting in beach sand for months. Surely that could be the only reason someone would eat it, because I have heard hackerl smells and tastes like piss. All that Scandinavian winter food is disturbing. Link. That blowfish stuff. The kind that they have to be super careful when preparing. How'd they figure out being good enough to prepare it? My favorite. Sorry, your uncle just died after eating that fish you prepared. Maybe if I cut it differently. Artichokes. My husband says that every time we eat artichokes. Like who thought, hey, let's eat this prickly ass flower. One of the first staple foods is kinda weird, acorns. Acorns were actually farmed very early in human history, but to make them edible you have to soak them and treat them. Sure, you see animals eat them all the time, but animals also eat tree bark and leaves. Somehow people figured out that you could turn the inside of acorns into flour and basically eradicate hunger by simple picking up acorns for a couple of days. Chocolate. I mean, don't get me wrong, I get why they were playing around with the plant and all. The sheer process of getting to chocolate as a product is so weird and bizarre, link and kinda gross, and then it comes out as the lovely candy we know and love. That expensive coffee made from beans collected from animal droppings. Who the hell looked at that and said why not? Let's give it a go. Actually this needs to be at the top. Civet coffee. I read that the Dutch colonists in Indonesia forbade the native Indonesian workers from picking any coffee beans from the shrubs for their own use. So the workers noticed that the civet cats were eating the coffee beans and passing them whole, so they picked them out from the droppings to get around the rule. Before long, the colonists discovered this and commercialized it. Cashews. Raw equals this feels like poison ivy. Roasted or double roasted equals just fine. I don't know if I'd ring that bell again after feeling the itch. Cheese, yogurt, alcohol, vinegar, pretty much anything that you would otherwise have thought is gone off. Who looks at months-old milk that stinks of feet, and think, I may eat that? Hungry people in a time before supermarkets. Durian fruit. It smells like absolute ass. Who the fuck thought it would be viable to try to eat that shit? To me, it also tastes like ass too, lol. Disgusting. Green olives. Poison until soaked in brine? How did that get figured out? I remember when they invented chocolate, sweet chocolate. Green olives dropped from a tree into the ocean. Someone picked them up, found they were much softer than usual, and decided to try them. Nat. I'm pretty sure everything started with one teenage boy daring another to eat it. Honey. Let's follow these highly territorial murder flies to their stronghold and eat their vomit. Their house is made of glue. Let's eat it. I'm just going to reach my hand into this ball of pain and get some sweet stuff. Honey looks good though. Below. A duck embryo still in the shell. People eat both ducks and eggs. I don't think Baloo is such a stretch. That is the one food I absolutely will not try. Those things are horrifying. But there's no reason to think it wouldn't be safely edible. Eggs are edible, chicken are edible. Potatoes. Early potatoes were small, hard, and poisonous. Methods of making them not poisonous included soaking them in running water for weeks or, in the high Andes, leaving them out on rocks high in the mountains so they effectively freeze-dried. Alternatively, you could mix them with clay when eating them. The clay would adsorb some of the toxins. Ortolan bunting. Caught at night, kept in the dark and fed so it would gorge itself, marinated in armagnac, roasted, then eat whole, bones included. Foods that are poisonous unless prepared in a specific manner. I mean, who was it who first realized that the kidney beans that were poisoning everyone raw, were perfectly safe after being boiled for 20 minutes? Vanilla flavoring from beaver butt. The enigmatic durian, a fruit so pungent it could make a skunk blush. It's like someone stumbled upon this spiky orb, dared to take a bite, and thought, yes, let's create a culinary sensation that smells like a blend of rotten onions and gym socks. Truly, the mysteries of gastronomy know no bounds. Gelatin. I swear whoever invented gelatin was probably a serial killer. Honestly, probably came from noticing goopy bits in meaty gravies and broths when they cool, then being like, wonder if we can get the meat flavor out and use that to solidify things. Lobster, crab, shrimp. Blue cheese. Someone left that out for too long, looked at it, shrugged their shoulders and went for it. Honey. Some editor forgot his potatoes in running water and then thought they were still edible. Lobster. Who looked at these hard-shelled sea bugs and thought, I want to eat that? They must have been absolutely starving. Years ago it was considered a trash food, and they fed it to prisoners, I heard. Link. I read that they were considered disgusting sea cockroaches, so fed them to prisoners. Jokes on them, cause they had the meal of their lifetime. Fucking sea urchins. Why would you even want to crack that open and eat it? Nothing. When you're hungry, of course you're willing to experiment with eating different things found in nature. Greenland shark is naturally poisonous, but the Inuits realize if the shark is completely covered with sand and piled stones on top for 6 to 12 weeks, depending on the season. This way, the fluids are pressed out of the meat. The shark is then cut into strips and hung to dry for 4 to 5 months. The crust is removed before cutting the shark into small pieces and serving. Whoever came up with the idea of sausage must have been kind of screwed up. You know what would be great? If we put the meat in the intestines of the animal it came from before we eat it. I imagine it was more like, hey, we have these scraps left over. Let's mush them together. We need something to hold it together better. Castoreum. Coffee. Just the process alone to make it drinkable is so specific. There's a fruit in Brazil that needs to be cooked around 7 days, otherwise it's toxic. Ate it 2 weeks ago, manioba is really tasty. Hello everyone. Thanks for sticking to the end of this video. I really appreciate it. I just wanted to humbly ask you to subscribe to the channel. According to my statistics, 100% of my viewers in the past 28 days are not subscribed. I have always wanted this channel to reach 1000 subscribers, and if you want to support and be a part of that, subscribe. It's free and it's an awesome way to support the channel. Thanks again, Reddit glitch out.